All right, welcome out to episode 136 of ANNM Podcast. It's Mark. This is a special episode because this whole episode is going to be revolving around Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which, my Switch is in sleep mode, but for those who are watching, I held up my Switch and I was like, ooh, and I was going to show the main screen, but I realized put in sleep mode. Just like with Sword and Shield, and I did a special episode reviewing that. This time around, it's a quicker time frame because I had some free time and I played the holy hell out of Pokemon Violet. That's the version that I got and decided to play first. And let's face it, if you've spent any time on YouTube, on social media, there's been a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, a lot of memes. I will be getting into all of that with my review of this game. I will say, though, I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I had very minimal issues from a glitch standpoint with the game. I know a lot of people had. I'm just one of the people who just didn't have that drastic one, or I just didn't notice and it didn't affect me enjoying the game. So unlike all my other episodes, I not really have much to talk about. Didn't really buy in, other than Pokemon. I haven't been playing any other games, haven't really been watching too much, been working and everything else going on. So I was like, you know what, I already planned this episode was going to go later on in the month. I was going to talk about Pokemon, but instead I was like, this week I want to sit down, I want to review and discuss my thoughts and opinions of my time playing Pokemon Violet. I have finished the game. The only thing I have left to do right now is to get about 20 or so more Pokemon, and I've finished the Pokédex, which I should say 400 total for the Pokédex. That's a good solid number to complete it. We have a good amount of new Pokemon, a lot of returning favorites, some of my returning favorites yeah, so I'll get into all that stuff in a bit. So this game, I don't even know the name of that region. I think it's Palia or something like that. My favorite part about this for the story standpoint is, yes, you join the Uva Academy, which is like a school, but there's like 3 branching stories, like 3 roads, and you can play however you want to an extent. It is open world, and the levels and everything scale depending on what order you take it. And basically, one of the avenues they go challenge all the gyms and get champion rank. Or there's a faction, like, your quote unquote enemy group they have to take down, so to speak. You can go and challenge all those bases and their leaders. And the last one is going and defeating these Titan Pokemon to get these mystical herbs to help a person in the game. And then what happens is, when you basically clear all 3, you get to go into the end game. And I will say, being able to play at my own pace any way I wanted to was very appealing in this. I personally chose to go the gym route. I was like, let me take these gyms out. That's my thing. Go to the gyms, mainly because I get those badges so Pokemon at higher levels can listen to me. And then I do mystery trades and trades with friends and see what I can get and how OP I can get to clear the rest of the stuff. I really enjoyed that side of it. Being able to just explore this region, this world, with no real restrictions except for how you could traverse it. So the main legend on the cover, you get this Pokemon literally in the beginning of the game. It's unusable in battles, but it is your mode of transportation. It is basically transformed into a motorcycle. And as you defeat the Titans, you get these herbs, and you get cutscenes. I'm trying to avoid spoilers to an extent, like, because when I review things, I don't like to spoil. But you make a meal with this, and you share it with your legendary, depending on which game version you got, and it unlocks a new form for them to riding. Whether it's, okay, now you can glide, now you can go on water, now you can jump higher, you can now go faster. So you got all these. So when you clear all the Titans, you now basically have the mobility to fully explore every area of this game. Now, from a glitch standpoint, people found glitches to basically easily defeat those Titans, but also glitches with the riding itself to get to these areas without actually unlocking all the forms. I didn't do any of that stuff. Like, I thought it was a waste of time. I'm never the type that's like, I want to make this game go faster to finish. I don't that's not really how I play. I play these games to enjoy them and have fun and spend a lot of time on it. And that's what I did in this game. Returning from Sword and Shield are the raids, but they're less. I feel like they were better this time around. Because then Sword and Shield kind of got annoying after a while doing them, and there was no real reason to. Um, at the time of recording this, the Charizard special raid wave 1 is happening from November 1st or December 1st to the 4th, where you can actually get a Charizard who's not in the Pokédex and not in the game at all. So the only way you could do it is by defeating this raid, and that's really cool. So I was like doing these events, and it is going to pop up again, I believe, on the 14th, 2 weeks later, for the from a Friday to a Sunday. So I think that's really cool they're doing that, and it opens up a lot of possibilities for later on what they could do with this. Now, the raids were really cool. I only do them because I want the XP candies and this and that to help level up Pokemon and make the evolutions go a lot faster, so I'm not having to battle as much. Right now, while I'm doing the Pokédex, my team is full. I have, and out of the 6 that I'm using, like 5 are level 100 already. So I'm like, I'm already got a majority of this handled, you know? So I'm trying to think what else where I want to go next without like going too far into everything. We have a lot of, I want to say from a standpoint of the gym leaders and everything else, a lot of good characters this time around. I really enjoyed the gym battles. This time around, instead of just, in previous games, not just, not Sword and Shield, but like in the OG games, when you wanted to battle a gym, you can't just go up to the gym leader. You got to go through a challenge. Usually it was, trying to traverse the gym and avoid battles or battle people to get clues to solve riddles and this and that, and then getting to gym leader. This time around, they made the challenges more of actual like fun challenges. There's one where you have to go and find 10 of this Pokemon that are hidden around the town, or you have to do other actual battles with some people. Like, they added these challenges in that I found were very entertaining and a nice change of pace. Well, from the normal, just, all right, I've been riding around battling Pokemon. Now I got to do these trainer battles. Okay, now I get to battle a gym. And there's one where there's a rap battle involved that you don't get to partake in, but you had to watch. And I was like, wow. I was like, okay, they're really going obscure with some of the stuff. And it's so this is Gen 9 Scarlet Violet, and obviously Legends Arceus. I really enjoyed that game. I know it wasn't for everybody. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought that the engine and everything else, I was like, this is what I want from Pokemon. This is what the type of game I want. Like the fact that you could almost craft them, like all the Pokeballs, and actually just crouch down and throw and catch them. You didn't have to actually battle you. And so I thought those elements of it were really cool. And I wish more of it was over to this game. Like, yeah, you can crouch down and like throw the Pokeball to like engage in battle, but I was hoping more stuff. I like that they kept that open world nature. And the main thing they did do was special evolutions. So, in Arceus, there were ones where it's like, oh, if you have this Pokemon and it uses this move X amount of times, then it'll evolve. Special conditions. They did that a few times in this. They even did evolutions where it's like, you can let your Pokemon out of the Pokeball and it can follow you around. And it's like, oh, if you do X amount of steps and then level it up, it will evolve. And they did this for 2 of the Pokemon. So I thought that was really cool. Just like the normal standard, hey, it reached a level, it evolved. Here's a stone to use, it evolved. Or trading. So from a Gen 9 standpoint, they are adding more to it. I think after all these years, though, there hasn't been that leap in drastic changes. And that's kind of where I start to get bored with Violet, because I wanted something new. I wanted something like an overhaul. And I get it, Game Freak, they're like, yeah, they're making all this money, but they're not that huge of a studio, And when you look at the amount of Pokemon games we've gotten on the Switch, and it's short, somewhat short life cycle, outside of the ones that weren't developed by them, like Snap, and the what was it, the Mystery Dungeon remake from the 3DS. But it's just like one of those things where it's like, man, I want something new, something more leaning towards the RPG side of it, like more of that. I do appreciate the amount of Pokemon in this one. Obviously, once it's gets its patch and everything with Pokemon Home early next year, that'll open up a lot more possibilities. I do like the raid den stuff, and there's no season pass that I know of so far. And when Sword and Shield had the season pass, I was like, okay, DLC for Pokemon. And yes, I did review the two DLCs. I felt like that was a ripoff and completely unnecessary, unworth spending the money. Like that was painful. And I actually regret spending money on that season pass. So I'm glad there's not one for this one. I am 100% okay with that. I do not want a season pass for this game, but I will say it's definitely like there's certain elements of this game that I really enjoyed. And yes, I'm all over the place. There's no structure to this. I don't have notes. I'm just, I played enough of this game where I could just talk about it. I do enjoy the co-op. There's like this Union Square thing where you can have three of your friends come into your world and you guys could explore around, catch Pokemon, and you could still play the story and do your stuff. They can do theirs. They're just in the same world as you, which I think is really cool. My one issue is even if you're in the same world with them, you can't just go up and like trade with them. You still have to do a link trade online. Like if they're already in your world co-op with you, why can't I just go up and or select their name and be like request trade? I don't get why that's not a thing. That should be very simple. Another but it is actually really cool. There's actually an evolution that has to do with this. There is a dolphin Pokemon in the game, which I do not know the name of off the top of my head. And when you have your friends with you and you actually release it from the Pokeball, that actually will trigger the evolution of it. And I thought that was really cool. So I was like, oh, so I was like, in Discord friends, I'm like, hey, I need to get this evolution. Can I jump in and, let me do that. And another cool thing is, all the version exclusives show up if you do co-op with people who have the other version of the game. Like I have Violet. Majority of people I know have Scarlet, and if we're on co-op, both Pokemon from both versions will show up in the world, so I don't have to sit there and trade X amount of Pokemon that aren't in my game to have them for the Pokédex. So I was like, hey, stay in the game if you're doing something. Let me run around, and I just went around and caught the Pokemon that I was missing from my Pokédex. I thought that was really convenient and a really cool idea that they did, and I was hoping we could do more with the co-op down the road. I feel like the foundation is there. It's a good start, but I truly think there's more that can be done, and I look forward to what possibly else could be done with this game mode, especially since right now it's 4. Can you imagine like Street Fighter lobbies? You have 8 people, and then you could just start your own little like Pokemon tournament, and be like, okay, let's start the tournament. And then all of a sudden, the brackets made, or like a King of the Hill type Pokemon battle like situation. I think stuff like that would be really cool if it was added in, especially because we have the co-op element of it. Now expand on it and give us more to do with the co-op. But that's actually been the most fun, being in Discord and just playing co-op and running around with your friends and be like, hey, I just caught this, or hey, I just saw a shiny. It's like, oh, where? It's like, I'm not telling you, I just caught it, But yeah, it's a good game. So for me with glitches, I didn't have a lot. I know if you go on Twitter right now and you type in Pokemon Scarlet or Violet and glitches, or you search on YouTube, there are a lot of videos going over the glitches. I've had very few visual issues where you can see through the ground and like this, but that's only happened a few times during evolution scenes and sometimes when I'm like going up hills. I have been stuck a few times and not sure what to do because I have autosave turned off like an idiot, and I'm sitting here just like, just in case shiny or anything shows up, like I don't want to like lose it, or like I'd rather like manually save and this and that and not have it like autosave and miss out. I was like, oh, everything, like I got stuck, and I was like, oh no, what do I do? I don't know when I saved last, and I was sitting there just like frantically moving and pressing all the buttons, and I don't know what happened. Instantly, I was like on the ground, and it was fine, and I was able to walk around again, and I was like, okay, that was the one time I got stressed out from a glitch because I was like, if I lose my progress, I don't even know where I left off. I caught a lot of and evolved a lot of Pokemon, and I was like, did I even save? When did I save last? Like, I don't know. So I was very worried with that glitch. Um, that's just the main one I had. Other than that, I had no issues visually. The games were running good. I didn't really have any frame rate issues. I played handheld a lot. I heard handheld the game ran smoother than um docked on the TV. I'm also playing the digital version of the game, so I don't know if that changes anything. I know some people were on like the subreddit and this and that were saying, oh yeah, if you're playing digital, it runs better, especially handheld. I don't know because I don't. That's how I'm playing it, so I have no idea if there is a difference, so to speak. Um, yeah, it's. I will say, in for without any spoilers, the post game, like, or well, not post game, towards the end of the story arc, there was some like dark moments, not like super dark, like oh my god, but like there was definitely some moments where like the story was good. The supporting characters, like we actually got good characters, which reminds me back of playing like Black and White, X and Y, stuff like that. Like actually good dynamic of characters where like your rival isn't a snarky rival. It's someone who's a friend who wants you to get better, wants to show you the ropes, wants you to get stronger so you can have fun battles and test their limits. And I'm like, I like that. That's refreshing. And unlike, with Sword and Shield, where it's like your friend who basically, his brother's a champion and he's not as good. But I do like that you get these core group of people, and there's a lot of good characters, a lot of good character development and story to these characters. There's not a lot of shallow throwaway characters in this game, and I really enjoy that. But, the gym leaders they have their personalities, but from the standpoint of just side characters, like when you go through these star challenges, which is this group that's you have to stop that are apparently bullies, but you find out that's not the case. And they like their backstory, why they're doing what they're doing, why they formed this group, and everything else was like really good. I was like, this is good storytelling in a Pokemon game. I was like, I am shocked, but also I'm not. This is actually enjoyable. Like I really like this. And obviously, it's I'm not gonna milk this. That's not gonna be a long episode. I got to talk about my favorite returning Pokemon. Sylveon and Gengar are back. That's all that matters. Obviously, we're always going to get all the evolutions. Like, there's no way they're not going to give us evolutions. But Gengar being a staple, again, favorite ghost type, favorite Pokemon. And everyone always laughs at Sylveon's one of my favorite evolutions and also just one of my favorite Pokemon in general. I'm like, why wouldn't it be? It's freaking Sylveon. Fairy type Eevee evolution that's OP and strong as hell. Yeah, that's my favorite. Especially the shiny form. I haven't got a shiny yet. That is the shiny I'm hunting down. That's the main one I want. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, those are. I mean, having Dragonite also. Like, I'm a fan of a lot of the Gen 1, Gen 2 Pokemon still. I know it's because I'm old. Okay, in '98 when Pokemon came out, I was 11. I was like just turning 12. So I'm a sucker. I have for like Gen 1. That's a soft spot for that whole entire 151 Pokemon. I'm hoping that with this raid stuff, maybe Mewtwo or Mew will come in. I'm hoping they take a page out of Pokemon Go. We get the armored Mewtwo because I'm waiting for that to be in a game. Honestly, armored Mewtwo would be so sick. So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities of what they can do with it. I'm trying to think what else I want to mention before I wind down the review because I don't want it to be that long of a review. I don't know. I'm hopeful. There's a whole area on the map on the right side when you do play the game that's like grayed out, and I feel like that's going to be unlocked at some point. Since there's no season pass, I'm wondering if it's something that there's going to patch in at some point. I'm really curious about that because when I saw there wasn't, and I could be wrong. The season pass could be at the store right now for all I know. At the time of the last time I checked the store, there was no season pass. I'm hoping that will expand on maybe some more of the story and this and that because I really enjoyed this world. I really enjoyed this generation. I played every gen Pokemon game. I finished all of them, and the only one I never actually no, the only one I never fully finished was Sun and Moon. I didn't actually get those when they came out. I actually just picked those up about 2 years ago, but I never started finishing them because I've been playing Yokai Watch 1 and then I'll play 2 and Yokai Watch 3. So that's been on the back burner. But I do think out of all the generations, I haven't really enjoyed a Pokemon game this much since Black and White 2. Black and White and Black and White 2 are my favorite non like core first 3 gen Pokemon games. And I liked X and Y, but man, the Black and White was so good with the characters, the friends. Like that was such a good gen that I I haven't really fully like I've enjoyed the games, don't get me wrong, but I haven't like been this involved in this much like enjoying from start to finish a gen since then. And yeah, it's a really good game. I will say, if you haven't played it and you think the glitches and everything else I've been talking about is like putting you off from getting it, still check it out. It's still a good game. They already did one patch already, like 1.1, that fixed some of the frame rate issues and this and that. And so they are actively aware of the issues with the game and they are actually trying to fix stuff. So it's definitely worth picking up. Don't let the glitches and the memes and everything else you see deter you from checking this game out. Pokemon Scarlet Violet is a really good game. And I know a lot of people aren't really enjoying it. They actually did refunds for Nintendo, this, that, but I was just like, I had no issues with it. I'm enjoying this. It's Pokemon. This isn't, we're not trying to play like a Final Fantasy 7 remake or something like that, where like this super depth and everything else. This is just a fun monster collecting game. That's really for my review. I don't do like ratings and stuff anymore. I stopped doing that when I stopped actually like writing and doing like reviews and stuff like that. I will say this is a solid game. Fun if you have friends who pick it up and you want to do the union co-op and everything else. Definitely do that. It's so much fun, and especially if you pick it up before the 14th of December and get yourself ready for that Charizard raid, because that is coming back. Since you already caught one of the Charizards, I can't get a second one. So, I'm gonna be farming it just for the XP candies and everything and all the items. Other than that, that's really it. This has been a special episode 136 of a Nerd Named Mark podcast. The podcast can be found on all podcast listening platforms, and I believe now it's on Amazon Music or Audible, one of those. It's on the Amazon audio platforms now. It's also on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store. Is it Google Play Store or is it Google Podcasts? I don't even know what they changed their name like 3 times. I don't even know what it's called anymore. Okay. Basically, you search a Nerd Named Mark podcast in any podcast listening platforms. You'll find it there. If you're watching on YouTube, I thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button on the channel, like the video, and comment below. What is your favorite Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet for Gen 9 for new? By the way, I picked the grass cat starter because I'm a crazy cat person and I don't hide the fact that I love cats. And that has been my favorite starter of the last 5 or 6 games. Or no, 4. Well, no, because I can't count remakes. So the last 3 gens, this has been my favorite starter. But that's it for the episode 136 of our Nerd Named Mark podcast. I thank you guys again. My name is Mark, and I'm a nerd.